Hello everybody, hope you all are doing well. I'm Kajuju and this is a deck check. I'll be giving you straight up gameplay and impressions of how well each of the various games work on the Steam Deck, as well as how the controls feel, what settings I had to use to get the game to run smoothly, and whether I personally would prefer to play this game on my PC or on the Steam Deck. I won't be doing any sort of deep dive into the performance or hardware of the Steam Deck itself. I will leave the performance overlay on for the FPS for you to observe as we go through this deck check. Timestamps are provided for you to get straight to the part that you are interested in, so be sure to check that out, especially if you just want to see gameplay with no commentary. So let's get started. The game we are checking out is Tabletop Simulator. Tabletop Simulator is, well, you've guessed it, a simulator where you can play tabletop games. You can let your aggression out by flipping the table and you are not bound by any rules. This is a physics-based game where you are in control of whatever happens in the game. This is a fantastic game to get friends over a long distance to play a tabletop game together. It also has thousands of workshop items of various different games, so if you don't see a game you like in the official DLC list, then it most likely would be in the community workshop. Tabletop Simulator released in 2015, and it really doesn't matter how long this game has been out. It is a really solid game to play tabletop games on. I won't explain the game that I am playing. The game is Zombicide 2nd Edition, so I'm sorry if you don't understand what is going on, but the purpose of this video is to show you how well this game runs on the Steam Deck. At the time of this recording, the game's deck compatibility status is unsupported, which means Valve is still working on adding support for this game on the Steam Deck, even though you can launch this game just fine and it launches so much faster than most other games that I've checked so far, so I'm not entirely sure why it's marked as unsupported. Tabletop Sim is a mouse and keyboard game, so this may come as a surprise to some, but Tabletop Sim does have its own official controller layout. I honestly was not expecting that, but it didn't entirely make sense to me. Clicking in the right trackpad brought up a magnifying glass, but I'm used to having that as my left click. I also made a bit of modifications by making the left trackpad a scroll wheel, so if I did clockwise motion on the trackpad, the game would scroll wheel up, and if I did a counterclockwise motion on the trackpad, the game would scroll wheel down. For me, that was a nice way to zoom in and out. The default controls also didn't seem to have a way for me to rotate the camera, since some items are oriented a different direction than to what I was facing. So I made the right joystick a D-pad that controls the arrow keys, which rotates where I am facing. So these are just some of the edits you can make to have a better overall experience. It really is up to you. So here's a glimpse of what my modified controls are for the layout for Tabletop Sim. I don't expect you to copy these controls. It really is dependent on how it makes sense to you. But I hope I gave you some ideas on how you can be a bit more creative with your controls. The on-screen keyboard does not come up automatically, so you will need to bring it up using the Steam plus X button. You also need to be careful not to touch any of your controls on the Steam Deck while typing because they are bound to keys. So if you were playing with the joystick while typing, you'll just see the inputs of WASD. So that is something to keep in mind. So even though this game is marked as unsupported, it has an official layout for you to use out of the box. How much of that official layout that makes sense to you is going to be up to you. But the great thing about the Steam Deck is that you can easily change the controller layout to make an overall better experience for yourself. I've got the graphics settings for this game set to Ultra, and it seems to hold up at 60 FPS very well. There's a little bit of stutter in some places, but I think that's more of a CPU issue than a graphic issue. Now, this could depend on the game that you are playing. The game I am playing doesn't seem to be very flashy, and the scripts behind the scenes don't seem to be taking a lot of the toll on the game. Normally, I would show you a video of each of the different graphic settings, but they all look pretty much the same. I just have the games running at Ultra, and I didn't notice any sort of graphical dip in performance. So yes, you can download items from the Steam Workshop. It is easy to access from the game's info. If you are already subscribed to the items on your desktop PC, then it will automatically also be downloaded since it is connected to your profile. The footage you are seeing is a bit hard for me to navigate since the screen on the Steam Deck turns off when I have it plugged in to my capture card. I do have to say that it is much easier to use the Steam Workshop in desktop mode. The game I am playing is the Steam Workshop item. It is the Zombicide 2nd Edition plus expansion by Time Wolf, until he changes his name. I own the physical version of this game, and it is one of my favorite tabletop games to play, so I wanted to try playing it on Tabletop Sim. Having access to the Steam Workshop for this game is huge, since you pretty much have an endless amount of tabletop games that you can play. It really is up to the creators of the mods to upkeep those mods, but I am happy to see it all working. Tabletop Sim on the Steam Deck is a must-have, especially if you are into tabletop games. You have a seemingly endless amount of tabletop games to play because of the access to the Steam Workshop. workshop. The quality of those tabletop games will depend on the creator of that workshop item. I'm not sure why it is marked as unsupported, but I feel it should have at least a playable status. The controls seem to be a bit on the learning curve. It really depends how you play tabletop sim. If you use a lot of shortcut keys, then you may spend some time getting the Steam Deck in a comfortable state for you to use as those controls. For me, I just need the mouse, camera controls, and a couple buttons, since that's all I need for Zombicide. Graphics can be run at the highest, but I really think it depends what game you are playing on tabletop sim. My test game was simple. It was just a bunch of images. I think this game is more CPU intensive than a graphic intensive game, so you don't have to worry about fiddling with the graphics settings. Most of your setup time will come from fiddling with the controller layout, but you can always download a community layout because someone out there for sure will or already have made a layout that is comfortable for you. So when it comes to whether I would play this game on the desktop PC or on the Steam Deck, I would actually prefer to play this game on the Steam Deck. It is a very chill game to play while sitting on the couch or laying in bed. I got the controls in a comfortable state to where I'm not fumbling up on the controls and messing up the board game by accident. But let me know in the comments down below if you think otherwise, or if I missed anything you'd like to see for the next video. If there's a specific game you'd like for me to try out, feel free to leave a suggestion in the comments as well. I'll leave some gameplay after this outro for you to watch if you just want to see gameplay without commentary. Yeah, so remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and until then, I will see you all later. Goodbye.